sometimes I feel like I'm God's favorite, and sometimes I feel like God is like, who made you think you would make that list? God's favorite. There's nothing like a good sit down and scream in your car. Am I right? Am I right? Not having a good day. And also, it feels good when you're going through something to just be able to talk about it and to be real so that we can just heal. Bars. Anyway. Oh my God. That's also the problem with going through something and really having the worst time, and then after a while when you've stopped crying being like, yo, I'm kind of silly. Okay, also let me explain. Whenever I am having a bad day, or me and my husband are going through something, what always happens is the first thing I do is communicate that to my husband so he's not confused. Sometimes I don't do it because sometimes I have fatal flaws. When you're emotional, you just don't think through things, like you can't. But basically today, I did this today. I woke up in a bad mood. I've been having a bad past couple days, so my husband knew kind of what was up. We're kind of both going through something. I don't want to bring up the specifics of it because that is something for us to work through and for us to communicate and debate over. It's not something that I need to bring to the internet, you know? Not that anybody really cares, but what is appropriate to bring to the internet is what I just want to share. What I want to share in relation to having a bad day and being in a bad mood and kind of like working through that and healing, you know? I'm also going to try to be real. I'm going to really try, because there's a bunch of value in that. There's a bunch of value in just trying to be as honest as possible and to connect with the people who are going to view this, because I know that everybody who's ever watched any of my videos appreciates some honesty. My husband, and what happens when I'm in a bad mood is I bring whatever the heck I'm going through to my husband. Me and my husband talk, and depending on if I'm mad at him and I'm bringing something to him because it's about him, we talk for a long time if it is about him or if it's about us. But if it's not about him, then we have like a cute little like powwow about it, and I'm like, I just feel so sad. After that, I just need some time. So yeah, I'm in a bad mood. I acknowledge my bad mood. I go through whatever the heck I'm going through. It hits me, and then I talk to my husband, and then I just need a couple, at minimum an hour, at maximum multiple hours, just to be with myself and to sit in my feelings, you know? To just feel your feelings. What normally happens is, well, actually, you know what? I feel like every time I'm in a bad mood, I go through a drive-through, because I'm not in the mood for making myself something at home, especially because I started off in a bad mood around lunchtime, so I was like, I can't be here and make my own lunch. Like, how depressing. This mood was depressing, but what's even more depressing is making yourself a meal when you are not in the mood to do it. So I got something to eat, because you're not you when you're hungry. I separate myself. I typically need to process things and just be by myself. Seriously, if I'm by somebody and I'm going through a hard time, I can't function around you, dude. I need to be by myself. I can't hear, especially, you know, when you're around somebody who's the wrong person. Oh my God. If I'm around somebody and I explain my situation, because they're like, what's going on? Are you okay? And you just mess up and you say, no, I'm not okay. Like, things are not good. They're like, and you explain your situation, and then they just end with a, wow, that sucks. I hate when you're actually going through something that's like legitimately tough for you, legitimately hard, like very undeniably difficult. Like, let's say you're going through somebody who you're close to, or somebody who you know died, and then you express your feelings to somebody who's asked about what you're going through, and they're like, oh my God, man, I'm so sorry, that sucks. Oh my God. And that's like all they say. Come on, this more than sucks, dude. Tap into your depth and really talk about this in a way that I need, you know? I also hesitate about putting these things up into the internet, because my mom always lets me know, thank you, Mom, always lets me know that she has watched my videos. But there are some things that I share that I'm nervous to let people know. Like, whenever I'm in a bad mood, there are My mom always texts me like, you can talk to me, and I so appreciate you, Mom. I so appreciate you for doing that. But there are just some things that I just don't want to talk to other people about if they do not immediately get it and can relate to it, it's hard because when you're going through something that affects you negatively, there are people there for you that are like, let me know if you need anything, but you just kind of want to be like, not from you. But that it's sweet that they would even offer, that they would even say, hey, I care about you, let me know. But you want to be like, hey, not you. Not to get too real, but also I also feel like I'm going through this like presentery talk, but I don't want to be in this presentery mood. I want to be real. Sometimes it feels, there's this one line in the Labyrinth song in the Lord I'm Tired, which he played in Euphoria. If anybody watched Euphoria, you know which song I'm talking about, where he's talking about, hey Lord, I'm tired. It feels like the world has had its way with me. I'm like in the fight of my life, but I don't want to win. Like, not to get too deep too quickly, not to get too real too quickly, but really, sometimes I just feel so exhausted by what life has just kept throwing at me that I don't want to bear the burden, bear the effort, bear whatever it is of going through it and working it out. How many things does a person have to just constantly work through to just then say, you know what, I really just want to give up on this one? I just feel like Labyrinth said, I just feel like the world is just having its way with me, and I care about this. It's gonna sound concerning, but please don't be concerned. Like, I'm somebody who's very focused on my health and my happiness and my future. I find there's so much hope in the future, but right now I just feel like I am so incredibly tired of working through things and being anxious. Also, I just got diagnosed with anxiety. I did not know that I was diagnosed with it. I went to I've been in therapy since November of 2022. And my therapist, we took this little survey, and she was talking about anxiety and depression with me. And she was like, I think that your anxiety manifests in this way, and your anxiety, blah, blah, blah. But she never officially let me know that I was being diagnosed with anxiety until I went to another therapy session with another therapist. And she was like, oh, can I share your diagnosis with you? And I was like, what diagnosis? She was like, well, you have been diagnosed with generalized anxiety, so we can start there. And I was like, oh, really? But it doesn't shock me, that I have anxiety. It's so fitting. I overthink each and every little thing, and I think a little bit of my anxiety even my anxiety talked itself out of thinking that I had it, A lot of me is just like, I could see myself having anxiety. That's very fitting. But there are other people with anxiety who can't even get out of the house. Like, I can get out of the house, so I probably don't have that bad of anxiety. The hell, you have anxiety. Sometimes I feel like I'm God's favorite. And sometimes I feel like God is like, who made you think you would make that list? Look at the past 10 years. God's favorite who? It feels like God is playing with me because I feel like I'm going through a bunch of negative life changes and a bunch of negative things that I'm working through that ultimately end up in positives, end up in good situations. But it's like, okay, why couldn't I have just been given a positive situation, Lord? God? Like, why can't I just grow from something that has positively affected me and changed my life for once? There are a few months where I felt like everything was so perfect. My God. There were a few months there where I was like, he wouldn't have made me go through all of this if I wouldn't have ended up here. God loves me. He just tests his strongest soldiers. I haven't felt depressed in a very long time. Oh my God, but I woke up this morning and I was just thinking, wow, I haven't been depressed. Like, I haven't been so unmotivated like this in a long time. And it took a bunch of work to get here. It took a bunch of years. It took a bunch of time. It took me being conscious that I didn't want to settle for the depression that I felt. And now I feel so much more well equipped to deal with it. But why am I dealing with this? I want to start a Patreon so that I can get into more specifics of this specific situation, because I feel as though when you put something into a private community, if you build a paywall up to something, it's just far less likely for your energy to be disrupted. Because I want to talk about things in a very open and honest way, but I don't really want to do that just with like anybody who will potentially hear this, who want to come onto my channel and like look at me having a bad day and just feel better, not in a purely motivated way, but just in a, oh, that girl's having a bad day, like let's watch it as entertainment and have some popcorn. Sometimes don't feel like my life should be like this. And as hard as this sounds, as sad as this sounds, sometimes I'm not interested in the life that seems to have constant roadblocks being thrown in it. Let me just clarify, I'm interested in my life for the future that I'm going to have. I'm interested in my life for the abundance that I see, and I'm interested in it because I love myself. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. And as much as I'm trying to combat that with a healthy mindset and a great environment and good friends and good people, there are so many things being thrown at me, and sometimes my husband, that are so difficult to understand, like the why behind why it's happening, because we both don't deserve any of this. I don't want to keep fighting for happiness. I just want to be a happy person. But you know what? In this case, trauma equals content and my anxiety equals oversharing. So that's what this channel is like about. And sometimes I think to myself, like, are we selling our soul to the internet, because we literally record every single thing that ever happens to us? And I'm not, because I think I needed this. You know, I needed an outlet in order to express myself, and I'm not doing it for anything other than I felt this thing and now I recorded it, and then I'm just gonna upload it for hopefully other people to connect over, because it's the most human thing to connect with people. And I think I'm actually kind of happy that I didn't grow up with childhood friends. I'm happy that I didn't grow up with childhood friends, because like if I had stable childhood friends that I was friends with right now, I would be talking to them over FaceTime instead of building a community of like a bunch of people that we can just bond over it with. Strangers online. Who needs like lifelong friends when you have strangers online? I'm gonna get to a book, because I don't know how much I can keep talking about this without it getting very sad and without it being like too honest, because I want to be honest, but some things just I can't, unless I like form a Patreon. If somebody would follow my Patreon, let me know. I'm gonna put out a Patreon regardless, like once I hit maybe like 1,000 subscribers. But wherever you are, I hope you're having a better morning, afternoon, or night than me.